Okay, let's go ahead and get this started. Okay, guys. So, guys, we have we're a little down today. Nothing crazy. It's just a normal pullback because we're at the critical level of 50,000, which I believe would put us in $1 trillion market cap, if I remember correctly. And let's just look at the page. Clearly, the pattern is still going up. Let's zoom out. Longer time frame, still going up. No change in trend. We had a small dip a couple weeks ago. Again, just because we were hitting 40K, now we're hitting 50K. So these are just little ledges and steps. And remember, downward channels tend to break up. And that's all that I'm seeing personally right now. Not investment advice, just what I'm noticing. Let's look at Doge, because Doge can be silly. Since we're looking at meme coins right now. Doge down a little bit right now. We've had some recent highs, but it's down for the moment against Bitcoin right now. Let's see what it is against a USD coin, or excuse me, USD. There we go. Yeah, so it's up, candle, wick, and then it's down for the moment. Personally, I think Doge is being pumped right now. I honestly think that Doge, being a meme coin, it will rise with Bitcoin, but the thing is that it will rise in a different way. It'll spike here and there and rise slowly over time, just like a lot of the other altcoins that are going to survive because they have some quirk or something like that. Other than that, I don't see too much about Bitcoin right now. Kind of moving on to some other things right now. Let's get a little bit more technical today. Go and do some less pumped up music. So guys, when we're talking where we are with Bitcoin right now, and where I think we are, and where we're going, that's what I intend to talk about today. I'm trying to give information that will tell people my mentality, what a lot of smart money and other people are thinking right now, as well as where we may end up. So once again, we're looking at stock to flow, and this is a logarithmic chart, and what that means is that instead of being like, you know, between these two lines is 50%, it's actually 50% is going to be higher, kind of like the Fibonacci sequence or something. It's going to be a little bit spaced out differently visually, so it's not to scale, right? So $50,000 to $100,000 is a little bit closer to 100,000 because that's how it tends to scale. Just like you see 200,000 here, and 500,000 is much closer to 1 million as we go higher in the chart, as we're looking right now. So essentially, according to this chart, we're halfway to 100K, right? And if we have a blow off top, we would inch a little bit higher. So don't be fooled by some charts maybe you see on the news that will be out of sync or whatever. According to just using this forecast or projection for data, essentially we're ahead of the curve when it comes to stock to flow. And what that means to me is that personally, if we sat here and had a bunch of volatility up and down, that would be perfectly fine. With 4 or 5 companies buying more Bitcoin than are produced on a daily basis, will that happen? I'm not sure. It seems this run could be very different in a lot of different ways, and I have no crystal ball. And once again, not investment advice, but that's what I'm seeing right now, is that I think we're personally very much on track. Nothing to worry about. A little volatility while we're ahead of this curve is perfectly fine. And this is all without looking at moving averages, which some other analysts do. Moving averages that Bitcoin will bounce off of. This is just by thumb, and that's fine. Again, this is just a journal about what I think about is going on in the space personally, and nothing crazy. Kind of moving on here. I made a funky little chart about my risk assessment of Bitcoin. I tried to make it as simplistic as possible with very few metrics, very few timestamps. In fact, the only timestamp that you have technically is the halving here, which would have been last May. And then the fall when I think that I'll be watching around to see who's doing what with Bitcoin. So what does this chart mean? It's color coded, right? I personally think that anybody who bought Bitcoin under 20,000 is locked into profit forever, assuming that Bitcoin doesn't blow up tomorrow. Everybody who's bought under 20K is locked into solid and lasting profit. Why the striped green above that? Well, I believe that 50K is going to be a safe region for people who are a little bit late to the early part of the run, and The only reason people might have to be worried is that if we have a blow off top, Bitcoin could crash all the way down to 40 or 30 to 50 grand and stay there for 2 years. So that's why I, like in kind of like a semi worst case scenario, I believe that after we have our high, it could crash as low as 30 to 50K. But we'll see what happens. Again, I have no crystal ball. Now, as we hit 50 to 100,000, the reason why I have that as yellow is because maybe we won't go down all the way to 30 or 50 grand, right? But we're no longer completely safe with locked in profits, in my view, because if this follows the pattern of the last run, where we went from, again, about $500 to $1,000 to 20K, and then we dropped to about 6,000 before Bitcoin Cash came out, this is the danger zone. So as we hit 50K, when people ask me, hey, should I buy Bitcoin? I go, I think we'll have profit continuing into the fall, but if you miss the top, like, you may just ride the wave all the way back down, and we'll see what happens. By the way, just a quick legend, by this dotted line is a representation of stock to flow, like we were just looking at digital IK. See how it kind of goes up like this? And the squiggly line that is not an actual representation of the Bitcoin price is the Bitcoin price according to my mental projection of where it may possibly go, right? So obviously when we hit above 100K, again, this is as if it kind of does what it did last time, right? So I consider this the 10K of this run, right? So once we hit 100K, personally I'm probably going to stop buying Bitcoin in large amounts anyway. And I'm probably going to start cashing out, maybe 10%, up to 20%, something like that. If we hit 150K to 200K, then I'll probably take something like 25% of my Bitcoin out and start throwing it into stable coins. Now, the thing about this run is that with so many large institutions buying so much and kind of holding the price down till they're ready for it to go up, there's the real chance we could peak. If they just let it go, it could peak super high, like in 200 to 300K range. But I personally think that anything above 100, 150K is a bubble. And that's when I'll be watching all the different metrics to decide if I need to pivot my funds in some way or form, right? And that's why, the farther we go up, I think that personally this territory up here, the 1 million, according to stock to flow, is actually the next step of the stock to flow ladder. See? So it's above 1 million up here. So I think that in 4 years, possibly, we could do 500,000 to 1 million, right? I don't think that's going to happen this run. It doesn't make sense from the mathematical perspective of the scarcity of Bitcoin, from the data that I personally have analyzed. So, and have seen other people break down as well. That's what I think personally. So if we happen to get above 300K, that's when I'm taking a lot off the table, 50%, maybe more. We'll see. And then I'm going to watch and, and enjoy taking profits at that point. Again, I think that personally this could hit any time between fall and spring is when I think that this bear market will start. I think we will be above 100K when that happens. There's also the chance it could be delayed. Like we could, for all I know, ride the wave up during summer to, like, let's say 80K and stick there for a little while. I don't know. I don't have a crystal ball. But that's what I think. I think we're going to have a blow off top, pushing towards 200K. Will it make it there? I don't know, which is why it's important to take profit, right? And then I think that there will be a massive selling all the way down, possibly below 100K, into this zone between 50 and 100K. If something really bad happens, we might dip below 50,000 until the next halving, which is in about 3 years now, in April. One thing I've noticed, and one thing that I worry about in this space, is that, again, with Robinhood and PayPal getting into the mix, right now PayPal, you can't transfer your Bitcoin anywhere. Same with Robinhood, you can't transfer your Bitcoin anywhere. And the problem with that is that in order to do anything with that Bitcoin, like, I don't know, put it to use to make money, which is what I talk about on this channel, you would have to sell it, which is a taxable event, and then rebuy back in. Now, what does that mean for someone who's completely new in the space? They buy in super late, like at the start of fall or something like that, right? So because everybody else and their grandmother has been telling them, oh yeah, I'm in Bitcoin and I made whatever, and so they buy in with the feeling of missing out, the FOMO, right? And then the bear market starts. We have our first huge drop, and I don't mean like a couple thousand, I mean like 10 grand in a day kind of drop, right? Or larger, because that's just where we're at with the volatility. If that happens, or even if it just slowly burns down, right? They are forced to sell it, which means that they are participating in the starting of the bear market, no matter what. It's binary. You either partially own it with them or you sell it, which, by the way, a lot of developers think that there's no Bitcoin to back what you're buying on those platforms, which is very bad. In that case, I would not use those platforms. I would not use PayPal. I would not use Robinhood. I would buy directly from one of the more reputable, even Coinbase, which goes down 15 times in a year, I think is better than those two platforms. There's going to be a lot of tinkering from certain companies to try and co-opt the space, and I think that Robinhood and PayPal are one of those right now. They're playing a dangerous game with your money, in my view. But yeah, that's what I think about this chart. Again, could have a blow off top into the 300K range. I'd like that. I don't know if it'll happen. Could go all the way down back to 30K after that. What's the timing and the pace of this? I don't know. It really depends on what's being bought over the counter, how much this supply shock will hit us all, and whether or not the general public will buy in. Which, by the way, it's been said many times, the more of us that buy in, the better it is for all of us. The more we let the whales buy it, the more they will control it. So we'll see what happens. These are just my personal views. It's not investment advice, but that's what I think is going to happen with Bitcoin. Feel free to keep this chart in mind that I made in Photoshop, and just keep that in mind when making your decisions, I guess. I don't know. This is just what I plan on doing. That said, let's go ahead and get to the giveaway and start the happy music one more time. All right, guys. So we're going to do marbles on stream today. We had a lot less commenters today, so over 10% of you are going to win today with 2 winners. Let's get going here today. Make sure, okay. Let's start the race, and there we go. So again, the top 2 will win $20 worth of Bitcoin from me, $10 each. So Joe Weston and Mart Vasa, Mal Mason, Eugene Boyd, Melvin, Casey Buckley, Leska Stan, I'm actually wondering, are these the names that I wanted? Let's see. So we're going down the funnel right now. Okay, yeah, those are the correct names. Joe doing extremely well right now. We're going down to the next step here. Let's go through the universe and decide who will win some Bitcoin here. Wow, extremely fast here in first place. Mal Mason, Eugene Boyd, Evan Morris. We need to go just a little bit faster here. There we go. What a course. This is really cool. That's why I like this as a giveaway position. Looks like there's going to be a jump into a landing. There we go. Going around Saturn at the moment. Going to the outside of the universe. There we go. Who will win right now? Who will win? Joe is doing a wonderful job. John and Sebastian Carpio are in second and third here. We have an obstacle here. Will they hit the obstacle? No. Okay. On the edge of the thing here. There's the finish line. What do we have? Are these potholes? I can't tell. Okay, we got a mixer. Uh-oh. Did Sebastian fall? Sebastian and Evan fell right now, so they will not finish. They're going to get a DNF here. Jake Cunningham fell. So it's Gio and John A right now heading towards the finish here. There we go. Oh no, Anya Austin fell. Slow Perp fell. Oh man. Mart Bassa finishing here. I'm wondering if that's a computer-generated marble that went first, because I don't think there's a Joe to Cape. Let's see. No, there isn't. They are not one of ours. So winner's going to be John A. John A and Mart Bassa. All right, guys. So it's going to be John A and Mart Bassa, and I will get you your Bitcoin within the next 30 minutes or so. Thank you guys so much for watching, and have a wonderful week. Yeah, and just keep hodling.